Hello and welcome back to episode 42 of the MotoGP Career mode. So just before we get into it, a lot of people have asked me in the comments what my difficulty I run. I run 120%, that's the highest you can run, so the max AI you could say, and obviously 35% strict, proportionate, all that, so I have everything on manual. I have it all as hard as possible you can make it. Now, in just off camera, I signed Paul Jefferson. I remember in the last episode, couldn't afford him. I was just short a few pound, and now we have him on the team, so a big upgrade there. He brings a bit more synergy. I think synergy went up by 8 or 6, so we'll have more resources. They have a much better foundation on the electronic side. Now we do lack small on frame, and we might need to see if I can get someone to replace her. That'll be higher on a frame and a bit more aero. I'll be interested in that because the synergy isn't perfect yet. And we are lacking still in sort of a great engine kind of base. And the other three were lacking a bit too much for my liking, and that's maybe where our shortcomings have come for the Aprilia this year. I have two new members after the HQ upgrade, which means I have 2 more men that I can stick on this. So we're currently on that. We technically can't develop that yet because we're doing this. So we should have 2. That's everyone on. We should have 2 men here who are sleepy. So these 2 fellas, so that'll bring it down. If I stick on both of them, brings it down by a week, so we might as well just get the extra fuel consumption, and I'll come down to 4 weeks. So as soon as that's done, I'll throw everyone onto this one and get it done. I'm going to leave aero for the rest of the season. I don't see any benefit of it. I have not noticed any upgrades to the bike when I've done the aero. Like I said, once I get up enough, if I at this rate I don't even know if I'll get these on, so I'm just going to focus on engine and frame and see can I get ahead there. But I do once again have a link in the description to a poll for next year's bike. This is the last episode you'll be able to vote for it. At the start of next race, so we've Aragon this week. Next week we will have Misano. Before the Misano round, I will announce the results of it, and I will go about getting a contract for 2021, or I suppose at this point it's probably 2024, but you get what I mean. So that's pretty much everything. We can't actually do anything to the Moto 3 team. I don't think I have money. I only have enough to do the engine. I want to do more rider based stuff just to get the riders up to speed. And yeah, I'm going to just save my powder for this week. And yeah, let's get on track at Aragon. So we've only a week to go. So here we are at Aragon. It's going to be a full dry weekend. I've actually been thinking we haven't had a wet race in so long, so I was actually kind of hoping maybe for that. But anyway, let's get on track in Aragon. So unfortunately, after a brilliant result in Silverstone, it does look like we are quite a bit off the pace. We are last, only a 10th off of Valentino, I will add. But that was on softs, and yeah, my pace is pretty poor. I actually feel good around the track, but overall I can't make up that lap time, and I don't know where I'm losing all my time. Just the whole lap, I lose time everywhere, so it's very disappointing. But on to qualifying. Coming cross line into turn 1 we come. No, I think we're going to have riders on the exit of pit lane. We're just going to get ahead of the KTM. I think it's Petrucci. Yeah, it is. We're just going to sneak underneath him so we won't have anyone in our way. But yeah, this is pretty much a write-off of a session. The bike isn't working around here for me. I can't get any lap time. I'm riding pretty well. I'm kind of speechless. I don't know where the pace is this weekend. Now, hopefully in the race I can start to maybe pick people off with some sort of tow or whatever in the race, kind of get into it like I did in some other tracks this year. But usually I'm not last, and I'm last by quite a bit, so it's quite worrying. But anyway, I have made the decision of who I'm riding for next year. I'm in contact with for the contract at the moment. Now, I'm not going to really reveal the team. I am going to reveal the bike at the start of the next episode. So yeah, at the start of episode 44, I think it's 43 as I'm recording it, you will find out who I'm riding for next year. The poll has been closed, the results have been counted. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm delighted to be finally getting off to Aprilia, because I don't see ever winning races on this. I know I got a podium in the last race, but that was fortunately my best because I didn't have the pace. You're never going to win races if you don't have the pace on your own, and with this Aprilia I cannot get the pace on my own. I can't even barely get out of Q1. I've done it only a handful of times this year, and we're at nearly the last 5 rounds of the season. But anyway, come up to the line. It's going to be more disappointing than qualifying. We end the session last, 0.7 off of Lacona, so yeah, unfortunately it's been a piss poor weekend. Nothing else I can say. It's been a very overcast race, it's a bit cloudy, so it's gone for a medium. There's nothing I can really do. My pace isn't good enough to get anywhere near the top 10. If I could scrape a point, it'd be a good result, but I don't think I will. I'm going to be pretty much on my limit just to stay with the pack. Now there might be crashes ahead, and there's usually is a crash in 2 in the midfield, but anyway, 5 red lights last on the grid, shake it ahead, and we are off. It's a pretty average launch. We just about get ahead of the corner, but look at it. Go on the offense down into turn 1. Lorenzo Salvadori down in P20 with me, so Aprilia's. But then Aleix Espargaro is on the front row in 3rd, so he seems to be getting a lot more out of it. Maybe he's getting preferential factory treatment, getting new parts that we're not going to see because we've announced that we're leaving. But yeah, so we've gone through the first sector, and usually on the opening lap I make up a lot of time. And there's a crash, it's Rossi, and he's taking down the other Aprilia of Salvadori. So a bad day for Aprilia has just gotten worse since their 2nd factory rider has just been taken down by Valentino Rossi. So that promotes us up to P20. On the attack up the inside of Alex Marquez. We're not going to get that done into this tight kind of upside down corkscrew. Very tight corner that. So Honda again struggling at the back of the field. He gets a poor run there. We actually run into the back and have to close the throttle, and we have 20 seconds back to Rossi in the corner after their spill. So Lacona obviously must get caught up in as well. I didn't see him crash at the time. He got kind of probably dragged wide. We got a first track limit warning of the race. Not ideal on the opening lap of 8. But now we're coming onto the straight here. Now we should have some decent straight line speed with 2 Hondas in front of us, which are slippery in a straight line. So yeah, we're pretty much after losing touch with the gap already to group. Just at the end of the straight, the Aprilia starts to pull them back in, but it's not enough to get anywhere near anyone for an overtake. Now we start lap 2. It's been a pretty average opening lap to me. I'd probably still be last if it wasn't for the crash of Rossi. So we make up a great bit of time on the brakes. Once again, using the lay braking style of Aprilia, the only way you can ride it fast in my opinion. I've tried riding it smooth and kind of braking early and taking corner speed, the AI just bully you, so you have to kind of brake late. The Aprilia isn't good enough to fight for the top positions on a regular basis anyway. Ooh, huge one there in the curbs, that easy. It could have been the end of the race there if we had a crash. The bike had a massive snap, and that time we touched the green again. So not ideal there. Now we come into turn 7. Can we have a look again? We seem to get a good run, but nowhere near close enough to Alex Marquez on the LCR Castrol Honda. We're wide through turn 8. That puts us on a very weird line into 9. We nearly run into the back of him again. So it looks like Petrucci is just holding us up, me and Marquez. His pace, I think he's gone for hard, so I think his pace is pretty poor. So I reckon we have a little bit of a look on Marquez, but we're not going to get that done in there. That just would have been a pull the brain out move. It wouldn't have worked. Aragon, a track I'm actually quite well at and I like as well. I just cannot get this bike around this track any quicker than I'm going. And I'm on the limit as well. Like if I push any more I will crash, I know, so I'm just going to have to try and stick with, if I can stick with Alex Marquez, maybe he can pull me past it down near Petrucci and see from there. He's getting pretty close to the back from now, so I presume maybe into turn 1. If you can get a good drive out of turn 17 here, across this finish straight into turn 1, he might get a send, even though it looks like he's done it out of the last corner. It looks like he's side by side and he has got the move done just after the line. So into turn 1 he does confirm, he moves across, takes Petrucci's line, and kind of pushes Petrucci back into my hands. So now we need to get on the attack and see if we can get past him. We're going to have a look up in here into turn 3. thought better of it. On the back straight here, and now can we get slipstream? Once again, he's held us up for the rest of the lap, and we've lost touch with Marcus, so that might be the end of our race of challenging for points. We're going to the outside hard on the brakes, and we look to have it done. He's probably going to try and squirt him to meet us, but with a hard rear, he's not going to have much edge grip. So onto lap 4 we come. Now Marcus is just there. He's not too far back off of Marini, so maybe he could still score points if we're lucky. I don't think we have the pace, but we can bully our way through. Maybe we could. Remember Finland race where we're just off the pace, unfortunately. We are taking time out of Marcus, and he seems to be coming back to us. We're not gaining on Rini, unfortunately, so we are starting to ride slightly better. We don't have a ride in front of us riding at a true pace, which isn't great, but it seems to be decent in this race compared to the second tier Honda in front of us. Quite strong through turn 8-9 flip flop there, the corkscrew type corner. Again, we go for kind of a wide swooping line to see can we get the power down to get a bit of a run up the hill, but we're just nowhere close enough to get a move done. Going to be hard on the brakes here. We do pull in a bit on the braking, very, very much on the limit there. You can see the bike bouncing around heavily on the braking, but we get a great run there through turn 13, but it's not close enough. Could we square him up down the straight? We look like we got a good alongside now. Can we get the move done alongside him? He's dropping massively back, so we have to pass him. We managed to get past him, so we are absolutely flying at the moment at the back of the grid. We come into the final corner. We're on probably for a 1 minute 45, which is a pretty good lap time for me around here. Up to the line we come to start lap 5, so pretty much confirmed I'm not going to score points today. P7, they're still thereabouts, but I don't have the pace to gap them or even get across them. So we're just going to see what we can do, see if we can pick a few riders off. We're only 0.4 off the fastest rider in this race, 45.4 or 45.5 compared to 45.9. So the pace isn't that bad. We are wide through there, and that'll put us on the curb. And we've actually gone down. End of race. I said it on the previous lap. I did the exact same thing where I touched the curb and the bike flicked me. I managed to stay on it. This time we bit the dust. Our first crash in a race all season. End of race here in Aragon. Johan Zarco comes across victorious, and they end up dropping down into the 44, so they start to up their pace later in the race. Salvadori and myself are the only two non-scorers, or non-finishers, sorry. So 2 Aprilia's not even finishing out of 3. Pretty miserable race. Even look at my pace was just nowhere. Not going to be good for a championship, scoring a 0. Puts us back to 11. Miguel Oliver has jumped us. We are P8 in the teams, and Aprilia stays 4th. So points for both of our youth riders in Moto3, so solid result for them. So that is where I'm going to leave today's episode. Unfortunately, a disappointing result in Aragon. But yeah, just poor pace all weekend, and I was probably overriding a touch in the race, and the event ended in the crash. Wouldn't have scored points regardless. There was no way I could have got around it, but yeah, still disappointing. Again, just shows that Aprilia podium in Silverstone was fortunate. But yeah, in the start of next episode, you will see who I'm riding for. I'm excited to show you off to see what you think. But once again, thank you for watching. I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.